The Obama administration facing a new hurdle in trying to sell the Iran nuclear deal to Congress, and it comes down to a matter of timing. Senators, Republicans and Democrats have blasted the White House for paving the way for the United Nations to go ahead and lift the sanctions against Tehran before Congress has had the 60 days required to review the deal. Joined now by Senator Orrin Hatch of Utah, the most senior GOP senator. Good to have you with us, sir.
Nice to be with you.
Good morning. It's nice to see you here in Washington. So Samantha Power, the U.S. ambassador to the UN on Wednesday, circulated a draft resolution that would end international sanctions on Iran once the IAEA verifies its compliance in the deal curbing its nuclear program. So apparently it's like, you know, all steam ahead for this plan.
Well, that's a real mistake. I think the administration's making a terrible mistake by not going through Congress. But this is just like jamming a stick in your eye in the Congress. Look, it's the Congress that really counts here. And I don't know that I'll ever fully understand why President Obama does some of these things, other than he must hate Congress, is all I can say. But for the president just unilaterally go to the UN for approval to get rid of the sanctions before Congress even has a chance to act, that's not only a stick in the face of Congress, it's a stupid stick in the face of Congress.
Let's take a look at some of the polls, because what the American people feel about this is clearly what everybody up on Capitol Hill is going to be taking a look at as well. So here's the question that just came out last evening. Can the United States trust what Iran says about nuclear weapons? 80% say no.
They're right.
And the president says that too. He would probably say, well, they're going to verify it. Let's take a look at the other one that we have here that goes to the issue of how, there we go. Are you concerned that President Obama is easing sanctions too much to get this deal with Iran, which is precisely what they're talking about at the UN? If you put together the very and somewhat of people who are concerned, you're at 68%. Say, don't ease those sanctions in order to get this deal.
It just shows that the people are well in advance of the executive in this country. The people understand that this is a dangerous thing. We also have to consider the feelings of Israel and Saudi Arabia and other Egypt and other friends, Jordan, you know, just to name a few of them, other friends in that area that have to be as frightened as you know, Israel is. Look, you just don't do this to your allies. You just don't do this to your friends. You just don't do this to the Congress of the United States. Jab a stick in their eyes and say, I don't care what you do, we're going to get rid of sanctions. I think if I was the president, I'd be working with Congress, because I think by working with Congress, he has a better chance of getting approval of this and thus full American support for it. But I'm not sure he cares.
Utah Senator Orrin Hatch said he is, quote, very, very concerned about the deal during a brief on the train in Washington, D.C.
We got to make sure that it's verifiable, because the Iranians have not been people that have been very trustworthy in the past. And they continuously break agreements, and we've got to make sure that the elements that we really have to have in this agreement are there.
Lawmakers in Washington now have 60 days to review the deal.
Utah's congressional delegates say they're worried the nuclear deal announced with Iran today could lead to more terrorism. Senator Orrin Hatch said Iran's not trustworthy, and any deal should include a way to make sure its leaders comply.
Senator Orrin Hatch's office tweets, Congress must not hesitate to oppose this deal if it endangers the security of the U.S. or our allies.
Senator Orrin Hatch issued this statement on the nuclear agreement, saying any deal that removes sanctions without robust means of ensuring the regime's disarmament and compliance with its international obligations is worse than no deal at all. He went on to say that Congress passed a bipartisan Iran Nuclear Agreement Review Act earlier this year that he co-sponsored, and lawmakers must now fully scrutinize this new agreement.
In national news happening today, President Obama is expected to hold a news conference that will actually talk about the nuclear deal reached with Iran in more detail. If Congress rejects it, the president has already said he has and will use his veto power to overturn it. Utah representatives in Washington already speaking out against the deal as well. They say it gives a big break to a nation that has not been very friendly with the U.S.
The Iranians have not been people that have been very trustworthy in the past. I'm very, very concerned about it.
Lawmakers have about 2 months before they get a chance to vote on the deal or do nothing.